What if the difficulty of an exam was not just about the content? If it was more about how well the brain is prepared for that kind of exam? Recently, I had lunch with an ex-classmate from the Master of Wine, and something completely unexpected came to the conversation. Today, I explore whether certain difficult exams really favor certain neurodiversities, and why my brain with ASD struggle in ways that I didn't notice at the time. Welcome back to ASD is Ability, where I share my experience of ASD, autism spectrum disorder, and how neurodiversity shapes our daily lives, work, and relationships. In today's episode, I will start with a story from my Master of Wine studies, then reflect why some types of exams are harder depending on how our brains work. I will end up with some practical guidance both for autistic brains and for anyone preparing for a challenging qualification. If you are new here, welcome. If you are a regular listener, thank you again for joining me. Let's begin. I recently met an ex-classmate from the Master of Wine program. The Master of Wine is a qualification to enter the Institute of Master of Wines, where people that have spent a lot of time learning about wine, they are recognized by being a member of that institute. You have to be invited to join, and you have to pass a very difficult and rigorous exam. We were having lunch and we were discussing the long hours, the stress, and how challenging that sort of exam was. Then she reminded me something that I have forgotten. The exam doesn't go deep into a specific subject. Even if we talk about wine, it really hovers around a lot of topics. So it could be just production, winemaking, the soils, the countries. Very generic in terms of approach and a lot of different subjects. When I was studying, I had created systems to track what I was learning. And I remember when I look at the index, there were so many subjects, and small sections that really it made me feel how difficult it would be for me to just memorize that index. I was used to a very specific subject and then go very deep in that one, and in this case was very different. Then in the middle of the conversation we had, she made an observation I never thought about. She said, "Do you think that kind of exam attracts certain type of neurodiversity?" That made me wonder, could it be the case? Would it be more suitable for someone with ASD or maybe with ADHD? Her point was that given it was so diverse and not going deep into the subject, it would attract people with ADHD and actually perform better. I don't have stats about that, and it would be open for someone to do a bit more analysis. What really resonated with me is that for someone with ASD, it's so important to go deep into a subject rather than touching very lightly all of the subjects. It made me wonder that it could be possible that was the reason why I didn't perform. Let's look back and analyze that. Looking back now, I have more clarity about how some of these very difficult exams require a certain neurodiversity to really outperform. Talking about the Master of Wine exam, which is the one that covers today's episode, first, the exam is not designed for deep knowledge and just going really in high detail as you would have in, for instance, a post degree or a PhD. So therefore, it rewards people that like switching topics and alternating what they're studying for that. Second, my ASD brain prepares to go deep and prepares to drill further in a certain topic until it has been really expanded. I relish on going into the detail and then seeing how much reward I get from the outcome. That's how I learn the best. And another element that is worth pointing out is the behavior in the classroom. So rather than having a structured way of learning with examples and really structuring way to learn, the way to approach the Master of Wine exam in any aspect is just a few days with someone from the institute and just sharing a question and then asking the candidates to present some answers, just giving a bit of guidance, which is a very light touch to approach that might work for certain neurodiversities. All that combined together helped me understand the importance of knowing what type of exam you are facing and how is your brain working in terms of neurodiversity to approach that. Could it be that when it comes to PhD, people with ASD have a better outcome? How about other exams that are more general and they are rewarding someone with a wider knowledge, even if it's not so deep? It brings a point for consideration and a point for thinking about it. If you are having an exam or if you are facing a possibility of a qualification, let's see where we can just approach that better. Let's prepare for a future exam. So first of all, I would suggest that you look at what type of exam you are facing. How are the questions? What are the topics? What is required from you in terms of learning? Is it more practical? Is it theoretical? And if it is it something that requires a lot of hours and reading a lot about a very specific subject, or is much wider? If it's very specific and you have ASD, then you will perform very well. If it's very wide and you have ASD, then you'll struggle. So the only way to prepare better is just to understand that and how you prepare. I felt that when we are faced with any exams in life, there's the pressure to perform. If at some point we don't get the result we have, if we have been studying very hard and the result doesn't come through, we see it as a failure. We see it a way to think, that doesn't work for me, how come I didn't manage? In reality, that exam might not have been the most suitable structure for the way we think. Maybe there's another exam out there, or there's another qualification that for our neurodiversity we can do much better. Knowing the type of exam you're facing, knowing what's required from you, and then understanding how you study the best will ensure that you don't see things as a failure. If I had to summarize all this in a very simple way, it is the following. Regardless of the neurodiversity that you have, when you face a possible new exam, think how you perform in that type of exam. Knowing the type of exam, what's required, if it is about the structure, if it has to be quick or slow, and then thinking how you like to do it. Do you want to think beforehand, and do you want to just prepare in advance? How do you do it? And then think how the exam matches the best you do. And that comes to the end of today's episode. Thank you for listening to ASD is Ability. If you have ever taken a difficult exam that didn't align with how your brain works, I would love to hear about it. You can message me on the podcast page, or you can reach out through social media. Next week, I will share another experience, and I will look around how ASD can shape people as well as other types of neurodiversity. Thanks again for your time, and until the next episode, take care.